Hey folks, so this is the training session for the club administration tool, ClubRunner website administration, working with it, training for ClubRunner. I'm going to get this right eventually. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and start talking through the items that you might need as a club executive or a committee chair, with the understanding that ClubRunner regularly changes the exact placement of where things are and which button you got to click and that sort of stuff. So they update that on a fairly regular basis. So grain of salt, if you're watching this 6 months from now, a year, 2 years from now, some of the buttons that I click may not be in the same place, but if you can kind of figure out where the buttons are, it still works in the same way. Okay, so we're going to cover a few major things. My second caveat being that I have full administrative access to the site. So, user level, access level is a big part of ClubRunner. When you first become a member of City of Lakes Rotary, you're in here, you're just a basic user, right? Which means you can look up other members, you can, fix your own, membership information, but you can't necessarily do a lot of posting to our forward-facing site or a lot of the administrative tasks, which is the stuff that we're going to cover today. So if you need to do anything in here that I'm going to show you and you don't have access, let me or whoever is the website administrator at the time that you're watching this video, let them know, and they will set you with the appropriate administrative level to be able to do these things. Okay, so we're going to cover three major topics today. We're going to cover how do you post new content to the news portion of the site. We're going to cover how do you create an event for the site and manage those event settings, and then how do you communicate with club members using the email tools that are built into ClubRunner. ClubRunner can do a lot more than that, and we may do some future training videos on some of those more in-depth features and functionalities that ClubRunner has. But for now, we're going to cover those three basic things because that's what most people need to do in a role of, a committee chair or club executive. Okay, so first, let's start with that news feature. And what do I mean when I talk about the news section? So on our site, and we've really customized this, you're not going to find too many Rotary Club websites that look like this. But most Rotary Club websites are going to have a news section, and ours is at the very bottom of the homepage, and it's labeled "What's Happening at City of Lakes." And we have a whole bunch of content here that people have posted with news, right? Oh, here's a note that we got, a thank you note from Sheridan Story. Here's an upcoming event that's happening. Here's some photos from when we were at Food Shelf most recently, right? So any of those types of things that you want to put in as news, something about that's going on about your committee or some upcoming event is going to go there. Here's how we do that. Okay, so we go into we log in, right? You understand, you know how to log in. You log in, you get into the back end of the site, and you go to this website tab. The way that ClubRunner works, you have to click something on the main tab first, and then you go into the sub-tabs. So we've got website, and we're going to look at website content. Avoid the website designer section. You really don't ever need to go in there, but the website content section is where you want to go, and you're looking for homepage stories. That's what we're going to do. And again, ClubRunner gets a little confusing sometimes, so stick with homepage stories. So this gives you a big list, and we're going to go ahead and create a new story. And I'm going to go grab some content that we can put there. We've got some really great impact statement, cool new pieces if I can find them, to share. There we go. Nope, I'm not finding them. Okay, well then I'll just show you what we'll do. We'll come back. We'll do fake content for now. We'll come back real content later. Okay, so the first thing you got to do is you got to type in a title, whatever your title is. So this is a demo story title. If you want your name or the author's name to appear, you type it in here. Grab that. We're going to show my name this time, just because. And then if you want the date to appear, if this is something that kind of feels like it's a timely thing, you want the date to appear, you click that little eyeball. And again, if you want it to be something that's really easy to share, because you think it's something that might be really cool for people to share eventually, you can click that button for social media. Then we're going to type in the story brief. Whatever the story brief, this is what's going to appear on that homepage, right? And so that can be a whole bunch of, the first sentence or two of whatever story you're typing up. That's what we want to go in here. This is just like a basic Word document. So if you're familiar working with Word, you can go ahead and just type right in here. If you're going to go ahead and type something from Microsoft Word that you then want to copy and paste into here, I'll grab some copy that we can use as an example. I'm going to grab that from something work. Here's what I want you to do, though. Don't just copy and paste that into this section. Instead, I want you to come up to this little clipboard button, the one that says, that's got the little W. If you hover over it, it says paste from Word, and you want to click that. And then again, you do Control or Command V to paste. Okay. And what that's going to do is that's going to strip out, Word will put in some really funky, weird code that makes it hard to read. It makes it not show up very well. So if you paste it in here from Word, that's going to work a lot better. Okay, so that's our story brief. It's a short little amount of content. If we want to add an image to this, we can do that. We can click image, and that's going to bring this up. Or if you know it, otherwise you can browse the server. And if it's already in there, you can grab the picture from there, or you can upload your own. Right, you click the upload button, you get that ability. We don't need to do that right now. So just find your picture and double click it. If you've uploaded it, then you're going to want to, it'll put it in that section and you double click it there. Typically, it's really good, especially for anybody using a screen reader, to be able to have alt text, what's called alt text, alternative text. And that allows their screen reader to see what it's about. It's also really helpful for SEO. Don't worry too much about that. But for screen readers, to make this more accessible to anybody who needs to use it, it's good to type in what your picture is about. Okay, so this is a demo picture, because that's what we're doing right now. And then this is a really big picture because we were using it for something else. So I'm reducing the size of it there. Okay, and then we'll put that on top. Now, if you've got a lot of content in your story, don't put it in the story brief, right? Don't put it all in the story brief. Instead, come here into the story content and place the rest of your content. And I'm going to give you one more additional trick. Put one carriage return in before you start doing your typing, because that'll make sure you'll see what it looks like on the to the viewer afterwards. But put one carriage return in, hit the enter key once is what I mean by that. All right, so I'm going to grab a little bit more content from my Word document here, and again we're going to use the paste from Word. Paste that in there. Okay, and I've got some subheads here, and you'll notice if I click on that, it changes to heading 2. Probably most of what you're doing is not going to require that, but if it does. What if you wanted to do bullet points? Okay, so you can click into your text, and just like you would in Word, you can set these at bullet points, and that'll look really nice for the reader. Okay, so you've got this all set. You've got your story brief, which is what's going to appear on that home page section here. It's going to appear in this little box. We don't want this to be really long. We want it to just be a sentence or two. Okay, this may actually be a little bit too long. I'm going to chop that out. And then our story content, okay, is additional information that is going to go if you click on the read more link, right? So this is a great example. Read more link. We had a whole bunch of extra content and pictures from that trip to the food shelf, and so it's there when you click the read more link. So that's what the story content is. That's everything that appears on the read more link. Okay, so that's good. We're not going to enable comments. We don't need to enable comments on any of these sorts of things. That's just trouble. That's asking for trouble. So this is good. We're going to click save. Okay, don't feel like you have to click any of these buttons. You can ignore these if you want. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to click confirm. Okay, so now if you come back over to the home page, you'll know that you're right, because we've got our demo story title. You noticed it's got the date in there, and it's got that read more link. And because I asked for it to put my name, it's got my name there. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm not happy about this. I'm not happy. I would like to have an extra space between the picture and the text. So I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to click one more time on there so that I'm happier with that, because I'm a design guy, so I like it to look. So we're going to save that. I can refresh it, and look at that. There's my extra space, and it just works great. And remember, we clicked that, social share. That added these buttons on here. So now people can share with that. So it looks good. I'm happy with it. It's posted, and now members from the site can see your exciting news. So now that we've done that, I'm going to delete this. Now, what it does when you remove it, it doesn't actually delete it necessarily. You can go and do that separately. But for now, by clicking remove, all it does is it moves it into essentially unpublished, and that's fine. It's gone now. And so if we refresh that home page, you'll see, and scroll down to the bottom, our demo story is no longer there. Okay, so that's how to put a news story on the home page of your website, of the club website. Next thing I promised to show you is about events. We're going to manage some events here. So let's add a new fun event. Let's say you've got a volunteer opportunity for your committee. Okay, so we're going to create a new one of those. So click the create new button. Give your event a title. So this is demo volunteer opportunity, so that we know what it is. You don't need to worry about event codes. ClubRunner allows all these different event types, and what that does is that it changes the color on the calendar, right? So summer happy hour, that's a different event type than red, this pinky red color. That's going to be a speaker. Gray is general event. Okay, I don't know what the color is for each of these different types. We got general, we've got club event, club meeting. I wouldn't worry about it. I'd leave it at general. But if you wanted to experiment and find out and have yours in a slightly different color, great, go for it. So we got to set our start date and our start time, or start date and any time. Okay, so we're going to say this is for July 24th, and then you just start typing. This is a 9:30 a.m. start time, and it goes until 11 a.m. See that it goes to 11 a.m. So just click the A and that'll change it to a.m. Description, again, we can grab our description of the event, and I'm just going to grab that right after out of my same document. And again, we're going to paste from Word. And that puts that in right there. Looks great. That's a good description of my event. Do I want to enable registration? Okay, so if your event is just something that people, hey, show up, no registration required, you don't need to register for this, we're just taking anybody and everybody, then leave it at no. Don't require registration, not a problem. If, however, there's limited numbers or you want to get some sort of a head count or know who's showing up for your event, then click yes, we can enable the registration. You want an image that you want to include in that, click choose file, and you can go and grab your image, whatever that might be. I don't know what images I've got. That's a good enough image. That's some people in a line. We tend to do that in Rotary. And then you want to set your event chair. So that's probably going to be you if you're the committee chair and you're typing this in, but sometimes not. Maybe somebody else on your committee is the chair of the event. You can pick anybody in the club that should be that. So I'm going to make Zal the event chair, and that's going to automatically fill in Zal's contact information for this event. Type in a location. If the location has a name, right? So this is Minneapolis Club. This is happening at the Minneapolis Club. Minneapolis Club, if I can spell. Right, that's the name of the location. And then address is just like normal. I think it's, and this is important. It shows up in the event materials. It shows up in the calendar invites. I don't remember what the zip code is, something to that effect. But it's going to it's going to create the map for it as well. It may throw it off if I've got that address wrong, but you can do that. You can, generally speaking, just leave all of these calendar invite or calendar. Where is it showing? Where is it showing? Which calendars is it showing this in? Leave them as they are. Do you want this to show in the calendar? Yes, because we want to show that for a demonstration. If for some reason you didn't want it to show, you wanted, people got to be specifically invited to this. You don't want people to find it in the calendar accidentally. You can turn that off. If you want potentially to have members from around the district show up, you can add it to the district calendar. But otherwise, just want to save that. Okay, so we're happy with this. We're going to click save. And that's going to then take us to the registration options page. Okay, because we specified earlier that we want to open up registration for this, we've got some options now. When do we want to allow registration to go from? We want it to go from now, right? This is actually, because now it's 2:19 on the 16th, 2:19 p.m. So this is actually, it says, yeah, immediately. We want registration to start immediately. Otherwise, I can set this, say, you know what? I don't really want registration to start until Sunday morning. I can set that. Going right up till the event. Otherwise, say, no, you know what? I really need a head count the Thursday before the event, because I have to turn that over to the Minneapolis Club to give them a head count. So nobody can register after 5 p.m. the Thursday before the event. Okay. We don't have payment settings set up within ClubRunner. That's a different module that we don't pay for. So if you need to have people pay for this, talk to the treasurer. They can set up a special link for us within our payment program that we have, but we can't do that through ClubRunner directly. So then you have options. Do you want to allow public registration to anyone, regardless of whether or not their member can register this event? Do you want to allow members to register their guests, right? So it's like, hey, bring your friends to this event, or do we want it to be member only? This is going to be a member only event, so we're going to uncheck that box. We do want to copy the event share on new registration emails, right? So Zal is going to get an email every time somebody registers for this event. And again, we're going to leave comments off. Generally speaking, you've heard the phrase, never read the comments section on the internet. There's a reason for that. Don't turn on comments. They can just email Zal if they need anything. Okay, so we're going to save that. And now this event is live and it's on. You can't register for it yet because remember we said that that registration can't start until July 18th. That's this upcoming Sunday. But if we refresh, there's our volunteer opportunity that people can find. And here it is. We've got, look, I was wrong, but the system was smart enough to figure out that my zip code was wrong and it put it in correctly anyhow. So that's great. So we've got this information. So the page is there. You can link off to this page if you want to, send people an email about that. But what if you want to invite people to the event directly through ClubRunner? You want to invite all the members, okay? That's great. That's easy to do. We scroll to the bottom of this page that we were on, okay? And I'll show you how to get back to this page here in a minute if you get off this page and need to know where to find. But we scroll to the bottom, okay? And we can do one of two things. We can do a new invitation or a new email. What's the difference between those? So an invitation gives us those RSVP links that you'll occasionally see coming from somebody in the club, right? It says, register for this as you, right? Or register as, separate. It'll give you those links, whereas an email will just send you information, just send the members information about the event. So we're going to do an invitation. And this is going to look the same. I also promised to tell you about how to send communications. This is very similar. In fact, just gives you a few more details. So we're going to start with this one. What this does is this is given us a template for what an email about an event, an invitation for an event might look like within the system. So we've got default content in here. And so we start with a subject line, event invitation for event name. I think that's terrible. So instead, I want to say, please register for event name. Great. Otherwise, it could be, please, it could be whatever you want that event, that subject line to be, right? You guys know how to write an email. You don't need me to explain that part to you. Okay, so now there's a built-in template here. You're invited to event name. Please click on the links below to attend or decline. So we've got event attend decline link members. Okay, and that's going to be the one where it automatically has the person's registration information in there, who they are. And then event register online link general, and that's for anybody in the general public that they want to forward this to, except this is an event, a members only event, so it wouldn't make any sense. And then in our table here, we have event names, event start date, fees, etc. That's going to say that it's a free event, all the rest of that sort of stuff. You can obviously type whatever you want to in here. If you don't like what their template says is, we really want you to come to this demo event, right? Huzzah. Now I'll show you one other thing here. So obviously all this stuff with the dollar signs and capital letters and all that sort of stuff, that's mail merge functionality. So how do we use that? What if we want to include something that isn't already there? I want to type in hi first name, except instead of first name, there's a special field that gets entered into ClubRunner for if a person has a nickname, okay? And so what we want is we want to go to the recipient section, drop this down and do recipient nickname, and that's going to throw that in there. Now, the really cool part about this is it'll put the person's nickname in there if there's a nickname registered in ClubRunner. And if not, it'll default to their first name, right? So you don't ever have to worry about, oh, that's going to be blank because Brock is Brock. Brock doesn't have a nickname, at least none that you guys know. Sorry. It'll default to my first name or whoever's first name in there. And that works great. Again, change any of this other information. Now then, who do we send this to? So we can choose any of our members, active or honorary. We've got a whole bunch of other lists, prospective members. You can create custom distribution lists. We'll talk about that more here in a minute. Inactive members, if we were trying to, if this was an event to try and get some inactive members to come back into the fold, that might be a good list. You're primarily, though, going to be clicking this active and honorary members. Click the whole thing. That's who we want it to go to. I'm not going to do that because I don't actually want to invite everybody to this. So here's the next trick. You can go in and specify exactly who you want to send this to. And I'm just going to send this to me. You can upload files and include files with it. You can include a list of recipients, which, I guess there's a reason for sometimes. If you want everybody to see who else got sent this email, I don't ever really use this. I do normally click the box to copy me on this email because I want to make sure I understand that the email went through and what did it look like. And then typically I'll even send a copy to myself before I actually send it out, right? You can schedule the email. Let's say I don't want that to go out until tomorrow, right? So that's going to then go out there. Now then, I've clicked schedule. The button doesn't change to say schedule. You have to click the send button in order to schedule it. But know that you've done that. And when you click that, it's going to say schedule email to one recipient because I only selected myself to send that to. Okay, boom. That's now scheduled to go out. And you can see it down here. You can get stats once it has gone out. And we'll cover that more here in a minute. And then, of course, you can cancel. I'm not going to worry about canceling right now because it's only scheduled to go to me anyhow. Okay, so that's our event. We want to see who has registered for this. Go back. Actually, that's not where I wanted to go back. I want to go back to Event Planner. And I'm going to show an example here. I've got 2 people registered for this ClubRunner training event, and I want to see who they are. So I can click on this. Here's the trick. You can't click on the 2 people there and find out. It'll just tell you 2 people are registered. I want to see who's actually registered. So I got to click on that details, that registered attendees detail section. And that's going to tell me that Mary Pat and myself are registered for this. Okay, so if you click on this 2 people, it's just it's a duplicate. It tells you there's 2 people. That probably works really well on the district version of ClubRunner where you really want to see what's the breakdown of clubs versus guests versus whatever. I don't know. It's not a use case for which we're talking about, but you want to see who it is. You can do that. You can download a CSV file of the attendees if you need to create something out of it, etc. Okay, so going back to the events list, I promised to tell you, how do I get back to that page? Well, you already saw this. You can click the open button, click on the event name itself, and here it is. I've got a draft event because I accidentally clicked back, you'll remember a minute ago, and so that ended up creating a draft event invitation. We're going to delete that one because I did not want it. And now it's gone. I still have that one that we worked on that we added our custom information to because it's please register. And that's going to be going out. It's scheduled for tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Okay, so let's dive. So that's events, right? You got an event. It's on the calendar. It looks great. We'll leave it on there through the end of the training. What happens when you just want to send an email, right? It's not about an event. It's you're trying to send an email to a big group of Rotarians, maybe everybody in the club, maybe some limited subset of them. How do we do that? Well, we've got to jump into our communication tab and then go down. I want to start under email traffic report, just so we can get a sense of what that looks like. So we've got how many emails we're allowed to send out, what we've been using. You don't have to worry too much about this, but just wanted to see that information is here. We send a fair number of emails through the system, and you can see who all is sending them out. Okay, and you can filter this and get reports, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so let's go back to that email services. So from here, I can create a new email that goes out to whoever I want it to go to. Well, maybe not whoever I want it to go to. I can send it out to anyone in the club and anyone on our existing list of friends and guests and prospective members and other distribution lists. So if I've got their name in the system, I can send them an email. And we can talk about adding more names to the system here in a minute as well, but you probably won't need to do that. So for now, we're going to compose a new message. And again, this looks like what we were just at, except we've got pretty much a blank slate. So again, this is that dear nickname last name. I always like to change that from dear to hi or hey, but that's a personal preference. And I always get rid of the last name. I will tell you that the trick with this then is if you do that, hi nickname, hi first name, people have a tendency to think that you sent this just to them, even though it says on the bottom, and they'll reply and say, oh, I already registered, or oh, I already answered you about that, or why did you send this to me? Cultivate, customize your list of who you're sending this to accordingly. Okay, so you type in your email here, and you say this is going from sender first name to sender last name. Account full name, that's going to be Minneapolis City of Lakes Rotary Club, or you can just type these in. You don't need to use the mail merge forms if you don't want to. Pick your list. We have one more option here, which is these contact groups. So if you wanted to send something to bulletin subscribers, to anybody on the friends list, et cetera, you could do that in here. For the most part, though, as we said before, you're just going to be sending this to active and honorary members. All these options are again the same. Here's what I'm going to do differently, though, on this time, is I'm going to actually send this to myself, because I want to show you what we can do then with this here. So we're going to send that. Oh, I have to provide a subject line. See, it's nice that it reminds you that. Demo, how about this is a really cool subject line. I hope that won't get caught in my spam filter. Oh, let me tell you one other cool thing that we've got here, which is there are templates. You can create templates within this. If you find yourself sending the same email every week, every month, whatever, create a template. We can do that. I don't know if that's a subject. We might jump into that here in a minute. We got a little bit of time left. But you can create a custom template and use that. Here's one that that I created back when I was club admin, and it's still in the system. Okay, which is, hey, here's the weekly duties, and then all I would do is come through and change this to whoever was the duties for the day, right? For the week, excuse me. And so you can create that if you find yourself using the same email, sending the same email over and over and over again. For example, if you need to say send the same email to your committee members every month, requesting them to submit their reports, or inviting them to a meeting or whatever, you can create a template for that, and you don't have to try and retype it every month, or copy and paste from whatever your source is. Okay, so I'm going to send this to myself. Oh, and I even had that. Look, 2016. That was a while ago. Okay, so that's good. Copy me. That's good. We're going to send. And here's the reason why I want to do that, because that's going to take a minute to send, and then I'll get it. And once I get it, we can start to see how the stats work on that. So I'm going to listen for that. In the meantime, I want to show you a couple of other things. So edit custom distribution lists. I mentioned this idea of you've got to send an email to your committee members once a month. Who are your committee members? Well, let's create a new distribution list that's specifically your committee. Your committee members. Okay, and then you go through and you check the names of all the people on your committee, right? And save that. Okay, so there is your committee members, and you can edit this at any point in time, right? So if people leave your committee, if they join your committee, you can update this list. And then if you just want to send an email to the members of your committee, okay, we're going to compose a new message. We go under custom distribution groups, your committee members. And again, I need to know how to type, right? So you can fill that out, and it's one click, then you don't have to hunt and peck every time and accidentally forget to include Ellen or whoever on your, and then they don't know what it is. You do it once, it's there all the time. Okay, so we've done that. We've covered the three things we talked about. We wanted to talk about events. We wanted to talk about news. We wanted to talk about communication. Oh, there's one last thing I'm going to show you on the events. I should have done this earlier. If I were going to edit this video, I would edit it before sending it out and put this in the right order. I'm not going to do that though, so we'll just cover it now. We covered adding an event, a one-time event. You might, as a committee chair, have different types. You might have a recurring meeting, okay? So for that, you want to do a calendar item. For some reason, ClubRunner does recurring meetings as calendar items, not as events. I don't know why. I'm sure they've got a really good reason for that. So you can already see we've got International Service, Programs Committee, Membership Committee. These are all on there, but you might want to do your own. So we're going to add a calendar item. I have to remember to go through and delete all this stuff afterwards. Description of test recurring meeting. We want it to show on the website. We can type in our email, et cetera, et cetera. And then we're going to go through and do a start date. This is going to start on the 30th at 5:30 p.m. And it's going to go until 6:30 p.m., right? That's the meeting link, and as a recurring meeting. So when does it occur? Does it happen every day, every week, every month, every year? It's probably going to happen every month. And we're going to say it's the last Friday of every month, right? And it never ends, or you know what? I'm only in this position for a year. I'm going to have it end after 12 occurrences, and then whoever's in the role next year can take care of it, however you want to do that. Now we're going to save that. And again, go back to our calendar. And there it is. Okay, so I think I've covered everything that we really need to do. The last thing I was going to do was I promised I was going to click on this email and then show you what happens there. So let's go back under communication, email services. And I think I sent, I'll refresh that. It was this one, this please respond. Yes, it was the please respond, that one. Okay, so I can come in here and I can view the stats. Okay, so 100% were successfully delivered and 100% were opened. Okay, so you can even then see, we don't get real granular data. It can't tell me, how many people clicked on the email or what links they clicked or anything like that. But you can at least get a little sense of, hey, did that thing just go into the void and it disappeared? No, 20% of people opened it. 87% of people received it. We've got some maybe email receipt issues going on, but 20% of people opened it. And so that it didn't just disappear into the void. But you might then turn around and resend. One interesting thing you can do as well, and this is a little bit pushing out further now, but we can go into here, and if we wanted to do a new invitation for this is kind of a cool thing we can do. This isn't in the regular email communications, but for an event, you can also send people based on whether or not they have already RSVP'd to you or not, right? So people that were uninvited or people that are undecided, and that means they haven't either accepted or they haven't. So people that you already invited, but they haven't either accepted or declined, right? And so you can see who that list is. So I sent it to all these people initially. We invited all these people plus a couple of other people who either declined or accepted. So I can resend this same thing or some variation to all those people. Okay, I'll save that as a draft for now because I don't actually want to send it out, but you can then come back in anytime and edit that. All right, I now think I've covered everything that I promised to cover. I'm sure there are other things that you might want to learn about ClubRunner. If so, great, let me know, and I will show you how to do whatever it is that you're wanting to do. And if I don't know, I'll learn. I got no problem with that. So thanks for watching this for the past 45 minutes. I hope it was valuable. And yeah, let me know, rate, subscribe. Oh, wait, this isn't YouTube. Okay. Let me know if you have any additional questions. All right. Thanks all.